Hello there, good morning. Welcome to News from Radio on GHOne Television. We are live from our studios at the Platinum Place, Northridge, also live on Facebook and on X. Now, coming up this morning. Minority in Parliament demands further and better particulars on District Road Improvement Program as they file RTI request. Also, Electoral Commission begins mop-up registration exercise. Now we are live to some district offices of the Commission. In business, finance and investment analysts endorse Bank of Ghana's directive requiring all licensed forex bureau to use the Ghana card for all transactions from today. And elsewhere, Nigeria begins nationwide 10-day protest to drum home demands for better governance. We've got details of these and more for you. Stay with us. Thank you so much for staying on with us this morning. I am Joshua Kodjo Mensah. The details now. The minority in Parliament has filed a right to information request demanding prices of the construction equipment under the newly launched District Road Improvement Program. Now, you recall the President yesterday launched the program, which seeks to empower the various metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies with the machinery to improve road networks within their jurisdictions. Now, in a statement signed by Mahama Ayariga, who is ranking member of the Committee on Information and Communication, the minority are demanding the cost of each unit of equipment procured for the District Road Improvement Program, the payment schedule for the equipment, and the total payment made for the equipment as of now, amongst others. Here's ranking member on the Committee of Local Government and Rural Development, Edwin Nilante Vanderpoy.
Taking into consideration the numerous complaints by the honourable members of Parliament regarding the adverse impact of deplorable road conditions in their districts, we, together with the administrator of the District Assembly's Common Fund, decided that these arrears should be used to acquire equipment for the MMDAs, for the road maintenance. The MPs have been solely deleted from the management of this program, and it's painful because we have created it, and we are assured that we, together with the MMDCs, will manage the management, the projects, and also the initiative of this program. We are by this press conference asking that this bad faith exhibited by the government and the exclusion of the members of Parliament must be reversed immediately.
Now, Chief Executive of the Ghana Chamber of Construction Industry, Emmanuel Cherry, is questioning whether the various assemblies will source funding for an effective implementation of the program.
First of all, we must also commend the President and his team for such an initiative. It's a laudable initiative that we believe to go a long way, but we also have other associated issues that possibly must be addressed behind the scene. If not so, this is going to just be like the usual, syndromes that we normally see. Government projects, government properties, maintenance cultures becomes a problem. Even though we are seeing the, Jospon group of company coming on board, plant pool, plant pools and what have you. But still, as long as government has a central role to play, we still have the doubt, the fear in there that no matter what, there is going to be a challenge, because today, if we should look into the common fund that government is going to use to run this very project, common fund has been in arrears for some time now. So therefore, if the money doesn't get to the various district assemblies or the MMBs as a matter of time, you will realize that definitely it's going to be a challenge in the implementation of this. Even though it's a laudable initiative, but the other side also must be taken care of accordingly.
Right, so yesterday was good news for a lot of people looking at the various MMDAs and the equipment that would be sent to the various MMDAs. You are told that in a matter of 2 weeks, we should have all the MMDAs have their share of these equipment. But exactly, social media has also been buzzing on this particular development. Nana Markwa has joined me to let us know exactly what your thoughts have been on this development on social media. Nana, it's been an exciting run on social media, I bet.
It has been. I mean, are people really willing to tell government where the potholes are for them to fix them? So here is what you had to say on Facebook. Edmund says, it's a good initiative. Untested but feasible. Let's see. Let's see indeed. Ralph adds that, or asks, does it mean some people are receiving salaries for no work done? What is the work of the MMDCEs and their staff? Where do they drive their cars? He says this is something else. Then we have Kodjo. Can't they locate potholes whilst they drive around? What has happened to, I assume it was autocorrect, Tema motorway. Then we move over to Instagram. Waima says, Ghana Police and Fire Service app self, no they work. Them potholes, very funny. Then here, now, the Minister and the Ministry of Roads and Highways must be abolished and agree to the fact that they have done absolutely nothing for the past 7 years in power. Geraldo says it's a good initiative, but not relevant to us. By this time, go and see the amount of money allocated to that project. Let's be serious as a nation. Here, the only government app that works effectively is ECG. All the rest now loot and share projects. Mr. Jackson says it might not be the answer, but it's a starting point. Hopefully, they'll successfully execute their plan. Let's switch over to X. Kwesi says the solution already exists via assemblymen and women district assemblies. Are the roads departments at the district level funded to tackle these issues? What then is the point of decentralization, he asks. Then Teddy adds, we already have drone services in Ghana. Assign one for such jobs. Then Perry says that Enyenim to Nkoko Road in the eastern region is the first point of calls. Potholes be what? Rishi says it's okay, but the data to go onto the app is expensive, so they should look into it too. Well, that's our last comment there on X. People are interested, but are wondering, will it work? And is it too late? My name is Nanama Akwa. Joshua, over to you. Yeah,
quite interesting. But one thing I'll be looking forward to is to seeing these machines on the Amasamang to Aikando Blue Stretch. I mean, we don't even have potholes on that road. I mean, it's manholes and it's highly immoderable. So let's see how they are able to put these equipment to use. But thank you so much for bringing us what thoughts are on social media. Let's move on to some other stories this morning. And health services at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital may be disrupted if authorities fail to address concerns of members of the Ghana Federation of Allied Health Professionals. Now, the group has served notice that they will embark on an industrial action if management of the hospital does not appoint a director in charge of allied health activities. They have also served notice to put down their tools come Monday, the 4th of August, should their appeal be unattended to. Here is National President of the Federation of Health Professionals, Dr. Isahaku Shiraz, speaking to the media. So quite a worrying development there, and we'll bring you the sound of Dr. Shiraz. But one of the things that we also do know that my colleague Evelyn Araba Aidu from our health desk, she's been monitoring this developing story, and she's joined me with some insights into this particular matter. So Araba, thank you so much this morning. First of all, how crucial are the services of the allied health professionals?
Okay, before I even move on to the impact, let us put on record that the strike is actually beginning tomorrow from the OPD.
Right.
So from tomorrow, which is the 2nd of August, they are withdrawing OPD services. Now, what is the impact? We know we are talking about 23 professions under the Federation of Allied Health Service, and they include the medical lab scientists, they include the sonographers, they also include the diagnostic radiography and the physiotherapy. There are a number of them, so 23. And also the 23, they are actually 150 1,500 members.
Right.
In Kolebu alone.
In Kolebu alone.
In Kolebu
1,500 of them.
Yes. So I was mentioning some of the professions who are under this profession. Now, when we talk about, I made mention that the strike is beginning tomorrow from the OPD. You know, when you go to the hospital, before a doctor can see you, first of all, they will have to take your records, put your information there. That is what the doctor will be able to access it, and then actually start recommend any labs or anything to be done. So from the OPD, they are starting that tomorrow. Now, when you also go...
So what that would mean is that if you go to the hospital tomorrow, you are unlikely at Kolebu, you are unlikely to have people take your blood pressure and your details before you are even processed for a doctor.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And then, okay, now that I've touched on the starting of the strike, we also know that now from the 5th of August, which is also on Monday, they are starting the withdrawal in the inpatient services. So you know that with the OPD, that's the immediate one. The inpatient, if you are in ward, if you have any issues, you will have labs to be taken. They will be the one to be in charge. And then also on the 6th of August, which is the following day, there will be a full strike action. So if you go to any hospital, these allied professionals will not be there. And on the 7th, they are also going to have a nationwide strike. But let me just walk you through. I made mention that there are about 1,500 members, and their activities or their services makes about 80% of all medical services provided at Kolebu.
Right.
Now, I made mention they comprise of medical lab sciences, diagnostic radiography. They do the imaging. Because if you go to a hospital, you have to do labs and the MRI, the X-rays, and the scans.
And all those people
that's what
are embarking on the strike from tomorrow.
Absolutely. So if they are doing this, then what is going to happen? So we also know that when they start this, there is going to also affect emergency blood services. That means that imagine an accident victim being rushed into the facility and the person needs an immediate blood transfusion. How is that person going to get that blood transfusion? This can lead to fatality. And then it can also, we also know that it can also lead to diagnostic services not being available, because when you go to the facility, these allied professionals, they the diagnostic part, they are seen as the detectives in every hospital, because
so
without your
they're
lab,
able to tell you what is really happening to you.
Do anything.
Interesting.
So they will also not be there. But we understand. I engaged Kolebu,
and that's why I want to come to that. Noting exactly the importance of these allied health professionals at Kolebu Teaching Hospital, and they say from tomorrow they're going to begin their series of strikes. Well, what is management saying about all of these? So
what I spoke to management of record, and what they are saying is, if the association or the federation have any issue, they should rather channel their grievances to the Public Services Commission, because they can help. But the federation is saying that no, it is actually the management of Kolebu. They need to do the recommendation for them to get any appointment as a director or as a deputy director. They need the recommendation.
And that's what they want. They want one of them appointed as a director of allied health services at the hospital. And
then, according to off record, the management also made mention that they, like the profession, the federation, they don't have the personnel to take up this managerial roles. But they are saying that they have it. In fact, they have the professors, they have the doctors, they have those who have the masters, and of course, when it comes to the health sector, the experience also counts. They have all of them. So it is management that is delaying. They also cited the case of Tamale and the GHOne Teaching Hospital, that it was the facility, the management of that facility, they actually saw to the appointment of a medical director for the allied health services. So this is what is going. So from what we know, if nothing is done, from tomorrow we are going to have
OPD services
OPD services. Yeah, their services are going to be withdrawn from there. And then also we go to the 5th of August, where they will actually go into the inpatient, the inwards. And then from the 6th, it becomes a full strike action. And then on the 7th, it will be a nationwide.
Well, we hope it doesn't get to that. Araba, thank you so much. Evan Araba Edu is on our health desk, monitoring this for us and getting us a proper perspective of the gravity of the situation at hand. But still talking about the Kodjo Teaching Hospital. The hospital is expected to secure some $5 million in a bid to boost healthcare provision. Now, the fund, we are told, will be used to build an endoscopy unit for the hospital, which will be used to detect diseases that affect digestive systems, including gastrointestinal diseases, colon polyps, and colon cancer. Kodjo expects the project to be completed as and when funds are made available.
The management of Kodjo Teaching Hospital say gaps in clinical and surgical supplies to the facility has affected healthcare delivery at the hospital. This results in suppliers complaining about delays in reimbursement after medical supplies have been provided. Notwithstanding, the management of the hospital is once again engaging the suppliers to secure some $5 million to set up an endoscopy unit. At a conference with suppliers, Chief Executive Officer of the hospital, Dr. Opoku Ampoma, spoke about securing some $5 million to set up an endoscopy unit.
The basic endoscopy unit is cost about $5 million equivalent, and then the daycare center is going to cost about $700,000. The project, which we are partner of, the government has come on board to support us to raise funds for that project. But all contributions are welcome.
Dr. Opoku Ampoma expressed concerns about delays in the payments in the face of new requests. He proffered an improved system to ensure prompt payments of medical supplies.
On some occasions, the delays are because that insufficient documentation has been provided by the suppliers, or sometimes you're giving somebody a contract to supply a certain quantity, and that's what the contract says. He supplied a part of it, and he says, "I'm going to make the next supply within a certain time." But if he delays in making that, making up the deficit in the supply, then it also affects the payment. And so there are some of these documentary challenges. And that's why we have this forum where everybody can bring the issues out to the table so that we can engage and make sure that the process is smoothing, and then the bottlenecks are removed as much as possible so that everybody will be satisfied with what is going on.
The conference was to enable authorities recognize and appreciate the contribution of suppliers to Kodjo's 100-year journey and to foster collaboration and innovation in the supply chain.
Let's turn our attention to some education stories now. And former Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Charles Aheto Chega, has urged the government to immediately address the need for textbooks for basic schools following the introduction of a new curriculum. He believes that the lack of textbooks is hindering the successful implementation of the new curriculum in basic schools. There's more in the following report.
Despite numerous promises from the Education Ministry, the delivery of textbooks has been repeatedly delayed. Stakeholders, while acknowledging the importance of textbooks in the effective implementation of the new curriculum, say there has been a lack of political will to supply textbooks for the past 5 years. Speaking at the 9th graduation speech and prize-giving day of Cherryfield Montessori School, former Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Charles Aheto Chega, called on government to quickly pay attention to the demands for textbooks for basic schools.
We are not only talking about textbooks, we are talking about other resources that will enhance education. Textbooks being a very central aspect of that is the one that we as Ghanaians we have seen. But the time has come for us to do everything we can to at least provide a basis from where our children will begin to start getting reference to continue to appreciate education that they are being taken through. We lose guidance for the children in terms of reinforcing what teachers are telling them. And again, they don't have any source of real reference in terms of trying to remember what the teachers have told them, because learning is all about retention and recall.
Chief Executive Officer of Cherryfield Montessori School, Magdalene Jifa Ajan, in a speech read on her behalf by Assistant Headmaster Gregory Boache, encouraged learners to acquire new skills in technology in order to stay relevant in the competitive job market.
Nowadays, you realize that people that are really making it, that have really good knowledge, people that have skill, and know how to use it well. In that regard, that is how Cherryfoot see to seize the opportunity to inculcate some of these skills into our students, so that when they leave the shores of the school, it wouldn't be only the book knowledge that they have, but then in case there is no employment, what would they be able to do to fend for themselves?
One of the graduating students, Jason Denchibuatem, underscored the importance of skills acquisition, especially in line with succeeding in his chosen field.
The benefits of skill acquisition in a school environment is that the practical learning experiences we learn from the classroom are able to cooperate with whatever co-extracurricular activities we learn over here, such as debates and drama. It has helped me better some of my skills, such as your ability to cooperate and coexist with other people, and also partners with whatever we learn in the classroom to apply the practical aspects in the daily class.
The 9th graduation, speech and prize giving day of Cherryfoot Montessori School, the reigning champions of GHOne West Municipal B-STEM Quiz Competition, focused on the theme Skills Acquisition and its Benefits, a must for all learners in the 21st century.
Now, Chief Executive of the Scripture Union Ghana, Reverend Derek Ekumson, has lamented the fast depreciation of morality among the youth in recent times. According to him, the phenomenon gives rise to an urgent need to put in place mechanisms to ensure the youth are steered in the right direction. One of the surest ways to achieve this, according to him, would be the construction of the SU campsite. This report has more.
Moral decadence has gained prominence in recent times, with many expressing concern over the phenomenon. As part of measures to address the canker, the Scripture Union Ghana, an evangelical Christian organization, is putting up an ultra-modern campsite in the eastern region to imbibe moral virtues in young people to produce transformational leaders in society.
We are committed in producing born-again believers, in producing people who will be transformational leaders for this nation. And you can see across the decks this afternoon, all the people seated here are very active in their field of industry, and we have many more of such people. So the challenge now for us is that, do we want to raise people who are morally upright? Are we looking for men and women of integrity? Then I want to encourage us to support Scripture Union to do this work.
According to SU Ghana, the importance of the campsite would require concerted efforts to raise funds in realization of the project.
If we all agree that the future, if you like, is in the hands of the youth, because they are the future leaders, then there is the need to devote resources to create the right environment to help build them up. So on the back of that, I think it's a very relevant project. I have been through the Scripture Union myself, and I can attest to how impactful SU has been in how I go about everything, my work ethics, my values, and all of that.
The campsite, to be located in Piponi in the eastern region, will have all kinds of recreational elements, apartments, nature, and a prayer park, among other facilities.
Now let's talk about the upcoming December 7 general election, because the Electoral Commission is currently started the mop-up voter registration exercise at the 268 district offices of the Commission. Now the exercise is to make way for people who turned 18 or could not register in the previous exercise to do so. The Commission hopes to capture between 50,000 to 70,000 new voters onto the electoral register. The exercise, scheduled to end on Saturday, August 3, follows a 23-day exercise held earlier this year, where the Commission captured 778,447 voters onto the electoral roll. Our reporter Peter Rock gives us an update from the voting center.
Has begun the mop-up exercise
to register people who were unable to take part in the registration, the mass registration exercise this year. And this exercise is starting today and it will end on Saturday. And we are here at the old office of the Electoral Commission here in Accra. And there are 5 constituencies that are gathered or that are in this building doing the mop-up exercise. We have the Ayawasu West Wagon constituency, we have the Ayawasu East constituency, Ayawasu Central, and Ayawasu North, including Klole, Kofi constituency that are here together doing the mop-up exercise. And so far, the exercise is going on smoothly. We interacted with those who are taking part in the registration and also gotten figures from the officials of the Electoral Commission. As at 10:30 a.m., the Ayawasu West Wagon had about 18 registrars, 18 people who have come to register, which most of them share their views on the process so far.
You're still watching news from right here on GHOne television. There is something urgent we need to do in Nigeria, so let's check out what is happening elsewhere. So thousands of Nigerians, especially the younger generation, popularly known as Generation Zs, have poured onto the streets of the West African country for a continuous pleasure at what they termed days of rage due to harsh economic conditions. Many of this could be more of a replica of the October 2020 EndSARS protest that engulfed the country at the time. Now, the organizers' main concerns have to do with the hike in fuel prices, the restoration of affordable electricity tariffs, and of course, reduction in import duties to the previous rates. Now, further, the protesters are also calling for a reversal of increase in tertiary education fees, transparency and accountability in governance, among others. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu acknowledged the rights of protesters but fears criminals. So let's get on Zoom now and speak to Nigerian investment journalist Opeyemi Lawal, who works with FIJ. Opeyemi has joined us on Zoom. Opeyemi, thank you so much for joining us. So we know that the protest is to start today. What can you tell us about that?
Okay, so good afternoon. The protest started today, and initially in the morning when the protest was to kick off, we found very few people on the streets, generally in Lagos, because today is a work day. You expect traffic, you expect people everywhere, but surprisingly, we found very few people on the streets. And then when protesters got to the venue of the protest this morning, there was heavy security presence. We have the police, we have the RRS, we have the neighborhood corps. Everybody was on the streets, stationed at the protest ground. And by the way, I need to say that the Lagos State government ruled that protesters can only protest from 2 designated spots in the state. So, and these spots are really close to each other. We have one we call the Freedom Park and the one we call the Peace Park. The major ground for today is the Freedom Park, and it's somewhere in Ojota in Lagos State. So when protesters got there this morning, the police refused to allow protesters entry into that park.
Right.
Protesters strike. Yes, they said that it was not 9 o'clock yet in the morning. So they refused to allow protesters to enter, and there were few protesters. Some protesters went to the state capital of Lagos, that's Ikeja. They went to Ikeja, and when they got there, they were harassed by the police, and the police reminded them that they have to head to the designated protest ground. So they came here, and before they arrived, but some of the leaders of the protest went into the designated park where the protesters had to use, and they found that the place is a trap. I'm currently in the park. When I say it's a trap, it is fenced. I don't know if you would like to see it. It is concerns around.
Okay, I would really love to see this trap you're talking about and how the response to this particular location and how it's become was from the Gen Zs who are already unhappy with the state of affairs.
Yes, so Gen Zs refuse to enter, the youth and their leaders, the conveners of the protest. They refuse to enter this flag because they think it's a trap. So they fear that the protest might be hijacked by people who are pro-government. And if the protest should be hijacked and there should be a riot, it will be difficult for protesters to make their way out. So they refuse to enter. And, you know, there are a lot of events and there is a sequence of events leading into another. So earlier, before the protesters from the state capital, Ikeja, Lagos, arrived, there were anti-protesters asking protesters to leave the protest ground.
And when you say anti-protesters, are these plainclothes people who also made their way there to discourage the protesters from carrying on? Or who are you describing as the anti-protesters? Who are they?
Okay, so yes, the anti-protesters are people in plain clothes who are believed to work for the Lagos state government.
Right.
We call them thugs, we call them agberos in our local language here, in the Yoruba language. So they work for the government, and they came out boldly in front of the protesters to say, "We don't want you here. You have to leave. Lagos is not a protest land." And then eventually, when people tried to settle with them, they said, "If you must protest, you must go into the Freedom Park." And then the protesters said, "No, this is a trap. If you should hijack this protest and a riot should break out, there is no way protesters will escape peacefully from the park."
So, Ekpeyemi, as it stands now, what is the state of the protest?
Okay, so the protesters from Ikeja, they arrived, say, around 10 a.m. Nigerian time, and since then they've been speaking with the media. People have been expressing their grievances, reverse electricity tariff, reverse fuel price, cost of governance. So generally, people are just loitering around the protest ground. Don't forget, they are not inside the park, they are outside, they refuse to enter. So currently, people are just loitering around. Nobody is entering. People are speaking with the media, taking pictures, gathering in clusters,
right,
speaking with one another, re-emphasizing their goals. By the way, the police is around. There's still heavy security presence.
Definitely. So finally, talking about the numbers, you mentioned earlier that, well, it did not start with people trooping in as was expected. But what is the Nigerian social media space looking like? Are people commenting on the protests ongoing?
Yes. There's a lot of conversation on social media, particularly X,
right,
on the protest. Nigerians who are not on the protest ground, youth who are not out there, they are actively engaging content from people who are out there. And then earlier, I saw people calling their friends from home to say, "You have to come down here." People passing in public buses, I saw somebody saying, "Stop this bus and allow the youth to come down." So beyond people on social media engaging, even people are not part of it, they are coming down to join the protest.
Well, Ekpeyemi, thank you so much, and I'm sure we'll come back to you as and when we have more developments on that, but grateful for your time. That's Ekpeyemi Lawal. She's a journalist in Nigeria, giving us an update on the Gen Z protest in Lagos, and as and when we are able to get more, we'll definitely cross over and bring more to you. You're still watching News from Radio on GHOne Television. We'll be back after this break. Stay with us. GHOne Television, let's bring you the latest in the world of business. Now, finance and investment analysts have endorsed the Bank of Ghana's directive requiring all licensed forex bureau to use the Ghana card for all transactions. Now, they explain that this measure will help the central bank track currency movements and stabilize the cedi. These comments come in response to the Bank of Ghana's announcement that effective today, August 1, 2024, all licensed forex bureau must require the Ghana card before conducting any transactions. Now, according to a statement by the Bank of Ghana, this marks a significant milestone in ensuring the safe and sound operation of the foreign exchange business. There's more in this Business Desk report.
Bank of Ghana statement directing all licensed forex bureaus to use the Ghana card for all transactions explained that this new platform will enhance oversight for directors and management of bureau and improve the bank's monitoring and supervision of the operations. This will ensure compliance with the Foreign Exchange Act 2006, Act 723, the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Act 1044, as amended, and other relevant notices and enactments. Additionally, foreign exchange bureaus are now required to issue electronic receipts to customers for all purchases and sales of foreign currencies. The central bank emphasized that the platform has been integrated with the national identification system to verify all individuals engaging in foreign currency transactions. Furthermore, it will be integrated with the national payment platform to support electronic payments and the receipt of Ghana cedis for foreign currency transactions at various bureaus.
Well, in some other business stories this afternoon, Deputy Minister for Finance Stephen Amoah is advocating a renewed focus on entrepreneurship to tackle the challenges of youth employment in the country. Now, according to him, there is the need for a paradigm shift to equip young people with the skills and opportunities to start and expand their own businesses rather than competing for limited job openings. More details in the following report.
Speaking at the 2024 Financial Economics Summit organized by the Financial Economic Institute, Dr. Stephen Amoah called on relevant stakeholders and policymakers to design systems that provide the necessary support and infrastructure for aspiring entrepreneurs. He highlighted the importance of creating an environment that fosters innovation and growth in the business sector.
National policies by all governments, though in different measures, underscore the need to support entrepreneurship. We need to upscale our preference for entrepreneurship so private sector incline economic policies. The Ghanaian banks should take a scan and extend their credit arms to the Ghanaian entrepreneurs and try to help them grow from small through medium to large businesses. We need to help create an opportunity for orientation and training for Ghanaian investors and entrepreneurs.
On his part, Apostle Samuel Amponsa Frimpong, chairman of the Christ Apostolic Church, discussed the common values shared by Christianity and entrepreneurship, such as honesty, respect for women, and responsible banking and lending practices, which contribute to the growth of entrepreneurs.
So when you take the Bible as a document and the Christian faith in general, you can have so many things from it that can help us to develop entrepreneurial persons in Ghana and to grow our economy. So I believe that there is a linkage. Looking at the Western world, the Jews, you see that they are now financing the global economy simply because the Christian faith and the Bible in general has been their source of inspiration. And so far, it's been good.
This year's summit, dubbed Entrepreneurship, a functional element for economic growth and stability of developing economies, attracted the clergy, senior high school students, and tertiary institutions with a focus on mentoring them to cultivate an interest in entrepreneurship.
Now, disgruntled shop owners and traders at the Abinchi market in Kumasi are demanding answers and compensation from the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly following the demolition of over 700 shops by a private developer. Ashanti Regional Correspondent Isaac Justi Bidiakon has more.
The abrupt demolition by a private developer has left hundreds of traders at Abinchi Market, commonly known Nana Efia Kobe Market, without their source of livelihood. Traders are expressing frustration over the short notice given to relocate, which forced many to leave their goods behind and suffer significant losses. Despite their appeals to the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, no action has been taken to address their concerns. The traders, who were moved from the racecourse market to Abinchi market by the assembly in 2011, feel the demolition was particularly unfair since they had purchased the shops from the assembly and were not consulted or compensated.
Stores no yato ye tuaka. Say yeah say your receipts, your allocation papers. Yeah say bibi sample no. Enka mon fresh store owners na ye woman no. Na money antina say bia ye pese ye besi store no bi foforo ana ye pese ye be ye adwuma bi o mas ya ntehwe asase ya wodia na ke metima ho allocation odwunu ho wonti ase but koso so ena mo bubu so ye tuogu mpanifo krum ha wontumi tia ba omia mu hina mutibi Ashanti rodie so na mambo tikese na muntumi kan bibi fanche ke before mo nya the right thing odwunu ho fanche papa.
Isaac Buabin, chairman of the shop owners at the market, has called for a meeting with the KMA to discuss the steps and the necessary compensation for the traders. He warned that failure to address the issue may force them to take further action.
Central market. You see, Jania Yaso Mre, a Babatina Hanumono, but to Sabre has ever been at the class of Bubuno. Assassinate the areas of Massas now. Because Obiania trusting a conversation, Sam, Obiania Yashabia said, or the different parliament, maybe I know how you count, it has assassin now, Copim said, but one year Bessia, no Maka, Sima Bay, Crofuna, Yabuto Yamu, yes, assassin now.
In response to the traders' claims, Charles Pixon, estate officer for the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, denied any KMA involvement in the demolition.
No, KMA has no hand in the demolition exercise per the information that we have as at the moment. I wouldn't want to go that deeper. Once the case is in court, if we try to speak to it, we might incur some contempt or interfere in the court process. So I will plead that we all exercise patience and allow the court proceedings to go on.
Well, that's it for business this afternoon. Well, it's that time of the bulletin where we bring you the latest in the world of sports. Under-20 women's national team are building up for a crucial friendly match against Hazaka's ladies, the reigning champions of the Malta Guinness Women's Premier League. Now, the friendly for the Under-20 FIFA World Cup is set for Friday, August 2, 2024 at 3:30 p.m. local time at the Cape Coast Sports Stadium. This match serves as a strategic opportunity for the Black Princesses to refine their tactics and performance ahead of the global tournament starting next month in Colombia. Since June 27, 2024, the team has been in camp in Cape Coast, diligently working on their strategies and team cohesion in preparation for the World Cup. Ghana's under-20 women are drawn in Group E of the tournament alongside former champions Japan, Austria and New Zealand. Their campaign begins with a match against Austria on September 2, followed by fixtures against Japan and New Zealand. Basigi's ladies are aiming to break the group stage jinx in the 7th consecutive appearance on the world stage. Well, still in sports, Canada have qualified for the quarterfinals of the Olympic Women's Football Tournament hours after losing the appeal against deduction after a drone was used to spy on a rival team's training session. The Canadians were docked 6 points, while their coaches and officials were banned from any football-related activity for 1 year after New Zealand lodged a complaint about drones flying over their training sessions. While Canada accepted the bans for their backroom staff, they argued the points deduction was too severe. But the Court of Arbitration for Sports dismissed the appeal on Wednesday. However, Canada, who won Olympic gold in Tokyo 3 years ago, won all 3 matches to advance as Group A runners-up behind leaders France. Canada beat Colombia 1-0 on Wednesday to qualify. It's time for the arts and entertainment. Where we used to memorize adverts and stayed glued to our television sets simply because your favorite adverts were playing. Well, pull up a seat as we take you on that journey to relive those nostalgic moments on today's edition of Throwback Thursday. Some interesting times there, and I'm sure that you can let the conversation continue on social media. Well, away from that, reigning queen of the Miss Malaika Ghana beauty pageant, Nana Nsako, has urged the government to support and allocate resources for educating young people about HIV prevention. She emphasizes that strengthening these educational efforts is crucial for eliminating HIV infections. She made these remarks during her HIV prevention campaign in partnership with the National AIDS Control Program at Wesley Grammar Senior High School in Accra. Alassane Awudu reports.
According to the Ghana Health Service, approximately 330,000 people in Ghana are living with HIV, with a significant number being young people. To address this, the National AIDS Control Program, through its Arts at 20 initiative, has partnered with the reigning Miss Malaka Ghana Queen, Nanaya Nsako, to educate and empower young people with essential knowledge and resources for preventing HIV infections. The campaign emphasizes the importance of safe practices, regular testing, and reducing stigma associated with the virus. Championing this cause, Nanaya Nsako believes that intensified education for young people is crucial for eliminating HIV infections and is calling for increased government support.
Our aim is to touch base with the youth, and we are doing in school and out of school. So we are just educating them about HIV prevention and the treatment as we are celebrating the antiretroviral at 20. I think we should amplify our voice when it comes to the talk on HIV, because even till now, you meet a group of people and they don't seem or they don't see the need for you to educate them on HIV. They think it's out of the system because there's a treatment for it. But no, HIV is on the rise, and each and every day people are getting infected and they are dying. So we urge the government to help us, for us to work hand in hand to end HIV.
In what measure? Dr. Stephen Aisi Odum, Manager for AIDS and SCI Controls Program at the Ghana Health Service, highlighted the need for continued HIV prevention education among young adults, citing a rise in new HIV infection cases in the country.
We want to get to a stage where it will no more be of public health importance. In other words, routinely it is with us as long as people.
All right, let's look at some other stories before we wrap up the bulletin this afternoon. And a private legal practitioner, Joseph Ko Adosam, has been arraigned at the Achimota Circuit Court and charged together with 4 others for allegedly forging a will. Now, the 52-year-old lawyer pleaded not guilty to all 4 counts, which comprised of conspiracy, forgery of official documents, altering of official documents, and perjury. Now, the Circuit Court in Achimota, presided over by her Anna, Mrs. Akusia Anochiwa Ajepon, admitted him to bail in the sum of 200,000 cedis. In addition to the bail, the court said he should produce 3 sureties, one of whom is supposed to be a public servant earning not less than 3,000 cedis and must be resident within the jurisdiction of the court. Right, so we've been joined on Zoom by EIB Network's legal affairs correspondent Mutala Inusa. Mutala, so what more can we know from this particular issue?
Well, Joshua, yes, the legal vacation just started today, but it doesn't mean that all the courts are sleeping. The circuit court here, particularly the circuit court at Achimota, is sitting, and one of the cases that you rightly touched on has to do with a veteran legal practitioner who has been arraigned, and like you indicated, he has been granted bail after pleading not guilty. In fact, he's been charged together with 4 others, including a chief of Banda in Accra here, and 3 other siblings. 2 of them are at large, but the remaining 3 who appeared, the chief already appeared earlier last week, Friday. His plea was taken, and he was granted bail in a sum of 150,000 with 3 sureties, one of whom the court said should be a civil servant earning not less than 2,000 Ghana cedis. Now, today, the plea of the lawyer has also been taken in relation to all the 4 counts. He pleaded not guilty, granted bail a sum of 200,000 Ghana cedis with 3 sureties. And the sureties, the court said that one of them should be a public servant earning not less than 3,000 Ghana cedis. And he is expected to report to the case investigator once every Tuesday in 2 weeks. Also, the court said his passport and other related documents should be deposited at the registry of the court. So basically, what has happened here is that the lawyer, together with the chief and 3 siblings, 2 of them currently are at large, and the investigator, in fact, the prosecutor in this matter, ASP Isaac Babayin, indicated that one of them was arrested just yesterday, and so coming to court, they would need time to be able to amend the charge sheet to be able to file one charge sheet to court. So the court presided over by
So much. That's Mutala Inusa, our legal affairs correspondent, bringing us some clarity on that matter. And I'm sure that in the coming days we'll have more information on this case. But that's how we draw the curtains on Newsroom right here on GHOne Television. There's more news for you when you log on to Ghana's most credible news website, starfm.com.gh. I am GHOne Kodjo Mensah. Good afternoon.